My name is Mike Nunneley, and I'm the Town Administrator, City of Mannford. Our population is approximately 3,500 people. We're about 20 miles west of Tulsa on Keystone Lake. Our form of government in Mannford is a town form of government. We have a 3.5% sales tax rate. We take in approximately $1.2 million a year. In regard to where our financial stability is in Mannford, when I got there approximately 11 years ago, we owed about $8.8 million in debt and had about $800,000 in the bank. Our general fund runs about $2 million a year. Our enterprise or public works runs about $6 million. At this time, through the change in the board and some stability things that we've done, we're at about $3 million in debt. So we took about $5.5 million off that, and we have in excess of $5 million in unrestricted funds in the bank. I think once we achieved financial stability, then we looked to kind of do some things outside the box for economic development. We knew we'd be restricted with our size to the amount of sales tax that we would eventually bring in. So we began purchasing land both to enhance and incentivize retailers to come in and other businesses. We bought empty lots to incentivize people to build new homes. We have built a CNG fueling station that the city will own and operate. We received a grant, and along with about $600,000 of our own money, we're building a $5.6 million senior housing complex. It'll have 40 units, 3 stories, and will be available for people 62 years and older. It'll be independent living, not assisted living. We still have approximately 100 acres of land left for either commercial, retail, or industrial. And by owning it, it allows our city to incentivize and bring in businesses that other cities are not able to do if they do not own the land. A couple of examples on some land that we have on the highway. We were able to make a deal with the grocery store people that had been there 40 years to build a new store, approximately 50 to 60% larger. McDonald's came in on the highway right in front of them. The bank has built a bank building right next to that. All that was because we had land available. Another national chain is going to build just down the hill a little ways from the bank on land that we owned. Yes, our utility department, besides water and sewer, we also own our natural gas system and our electric system. Only 7 communities in the state of Oklahoma own what we call all 4 utilities. So the CNG plant was a natural fit for us. We've already converted about 1/3 of our vehicles or purchased into CNG. We'll do another 1/3 this year and probably another 1/3 the next year. This will, at today's price, allow us to fuel our vehicles for less than 40 cents a gallon. Okay, at this time, we've partnered with the Creek Nation to go halves on building a CNG fueling station. It should be completed within the next week or 2, and we'll just be full partners with them. They want to get into the CNG business in a lot of their smaller communities about their nation, and it just looked like a good opportunity to partner with them. And at any time that they want out, we'll take it over completely for ourselves, but their goal is to build 4 or 5 of their own. This is not just a CNG station because we owned our gas system. Natural gas is deregulated, unlike electricity, so any city can purchase natural gas, pay a transport through whatever system comes through their city, even if they're franchised with Oklahoma Natural Gas, and build a CNG station, own, operated it, and buy the fuel at wholesale cost, the same price I pay for it. We looked at the opportunity to grow about 8 years ago. And to grow a community, you have to have financial stability. We felt like getting our numbers correct in the number of employees, the number of people that we were paying full benefits to, then we got our budget in good order. That allowed us to put up a lot of reserve money and allowed us to purchase 100 acres when it became available right on the highway. A lot of people said it'd be nothing but rocks and trees, but we figured out through looking at retail growth development and the way that small towns, we were about 2,000 then, we're about 3,500 now, had to compete with each other for every retail dollar and every retail business. And by owning the land, we got to move to the front of the class a lot of different times. That's because economic development in small communities, and probably in large, moves at the speed of greed. And if private landowners hold all the land, they have one shot at making a big profit. If we own the land, we don't have to make the profit up front. We need to get the business there. It provides jobs, it provides sales tax, it provides utility usage, and it keeps our people from driving to larger cities for what's called leakage, where they buy there and they leave their sales tax there. And at this point in the last 7 years, we've almost doubled our sales tax without raising our rate, just by raising the volume of sales in our community. We are now one of the few communities in the state that are completely funded in our general fund by our sales tax and fees. And we will not, at this year, we will not transfer money from our public works or enterprise fund into general fund to operate the city. Now, how did we get the money and what did we do? We bought the land in a public trust. Our Public Works Authority owns all of the land. It's much easier to buy and sell through a trust than it is through the city, where you'd have to put it up for bid and auction and publish and all that. A trust doesn't have to go through all of that to buy and sell real estate. I believe that the stability of a city, both financial stability, employee stability, all comes from the leadership. And until a community can purchase land, can do retail development, can do growth, there has to be stability, and that stability has to come from the elected officials. And the right people, for the right reasons, have got to run and get elected. It's got to be stable. You can't have continuous turnover. And everybody's goal needs to be the same. Doesn't mean they all have to vote the same way on every item on the agenda. It just says the goal has to be the same. And the goal is to prosper the city. So if there is not leadership stability, doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter how much land you have, if the turnover is always happening, you won't reach the potential that you have in place. I think one of the major parts of stability, especially from the leadership position, is to allow your town administrator or your city manager or whoever's in charge of running the day-to-day to get their number of people and the quality of people in the correct order. And we've always used a figure of 1 employee per 100 population. If you're 3,500, you should have 35 employees. That'll change a little if you run your ambulance service or like us, we have a gas department and electric department that a lot of cities don't have. But every 1, every 10, every 50 employees that you have over the number you should have costs you somewhere between 40 and 50,000. When I came to Mannford, we had 39 full-time employees in a town of 2,000. Now we have 30 full-time employees in a town of 3,500. Those 9 employees save us about $450,000 a year. That allows us to take the quality people that we have instead of the quantity people that a lot of them have and pay them very well and give them very good benefits. Every employee in Mannford has 100% health insurance, dental and optical for the employee, their spouse, and all their dependents. And we pay for all of that. They also make very good wages. They're at the highest level of retirement. We'll have people retire at 30 years of service that draw 90% of their paycheck the rest of their life. And they can retire with full benefits at 55 years old. You can't do that if you're paying too many people to do the same thing that fewer people can do. It frees up money to give good employees the best benefits possible. And good employees get a lot more done than just average employees. Yeah, I think the management part of it, when people say, gosh, if we just had a Walmart, if we just had this, if we just had that, we could bring in more sales tax and our budget would be better. In a lot of studies I've done on stability and comparing other cities, it's not so much how much comes in as how much goes out. Because we bring in an average of $100,000 a month, about $1.2 million a year. We used to bring in $60,000 a month, $700,000 a year, $720,000. And we haven't changed the rate, we haven't changed anything but the volume, but our expenditures are down, which means we're able to clear $500,000 to $700,000 a year. You know, that's sitting there for the next big operation we want to do. And I've been a town administrator for 16 years now. I was the town administrator in Granite, Oklahoma for 5 years prior to coming to Mannford. But prior to be the administrator in Granite, I was the mayor. I was on the board of trustees for 5 years. I was the mayor for 3 years. And that's when I understood exactly my role. And my role then was not to operate the day-to-day operation of the city. My job was to conduct the meetings. Actually, our public works director, our police chief, and our clerk ran the city on a day-to-day basis. I didn't bother them. They did it. I came to the meetings. We studied what was going to be on it. We accomplished what needed to be accomplished at the meetings. Then I became the administrator, and that's when I took over the day-to-day operations. But the mayor's job in any of the forms of government, other than strong mayor or aldermanic, is not to run the city. It's to run the meetings. Good meetings are one of the most important things that you do as a city. It's your public image. It is the business meeting of your organization. And to run one correctly, you have stability from the leadership that's elected. They're not fighting amongst themselves. They're doing their homework before they get there and seeing what the agenda items are. If they have a question, they call either myself or staff through the week prior to or the days prior to, so they don't ambush staff. Staff's job is to get as much information to them as they can as to what's going to be on the agenda and how it's going to be presented. We give financials, we give all documentation. But the meetings are not social events. They're a business meeting. When I first came to Mannford, we were not stable. We had some of the worst meetings ever. And they would take 2 and 3 and 4 hours for absolutely no reason. We accomplished nothing but to hear trustees talk at trustees, sometimes in a poor tone of voice. Now we run 3 meetings. We have 2 trusts and the city meeting, and we're finished in 20 to 25 minutes, and we meet 1 time a month. It's very good for staff. It's very comfortable for staff. No staff gets attacked during a meeting. They run very smoothly, because if we're taking care of the day-to-day operation of the city, the other 29 or 30 days of the month, there's really not a lot to do at a meeting other than resolutions, ordinances, and approve the budget and consent order.